Welcome to Fuck Your Feelings.
All right, welcome back. What's going on this week? I wanted to talk about like fucking security and like privacy and shit because like I told you before, some of the conversations I had with people, it's like people really don't know like just the groundwork for like how to stay safe on the internet and like how to protect your data and shit. Like it was shocking that people thought Google was like good for safety and privacy and shit. It's like, man, like really?
Yeah, no. Google basically tracks you and steals as much information as they possibly can to use in their algorithms to advertise to you and stuff. So
Yeah.
that's probably one of the worst places that you can get advice for any type of privacy, that's for sure.
Yeah. And it's funny because like when you break it down that like a free service is only free like monetary wise for you. They're still getting your data, they're still getting all that shit, and they're making money off of you. You're volunteering all your information for someone to make money off of it. And like people just don't get that. They're like, oh well, it's free, like I don't have to pay for it. It's like, no, but you're giving away all the stuff that you have, that like whatever you type on your keyboard into the internet, you're giving that away to a company to fucking like make money off of. So unless you're paying that company, then someone else is paying them, right? Like you got to pay for something.
Yeah, somebody told me something one time that stuck with me. They said if a service is free, then you're the product.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
they're making money in one way or another, and usually it's from harvesting your data.
Oh, and
So
that's the whole thing with like all the social networking that came up, like Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, MySpace, like everything that's out there. You can make a free account, but you're just like all the ads you're seeing is because someone's paying for your information to give you these ads, right? Like it's not just coincidence that someone's seeing a suggestion for an ad that they thought about buying at one time. No, like someone's cultivating all your information to figure out how to get you to spend money because you're not spending money on the free product. They want to push paid products to you to try and get your money.
and that's why targeted ads are so important to them, because they want the best bang for their buck when they're advertising. So they don't want to advertise like, I don't know, a blow dryer to a bald dude, for example, right?
Yeah.
So that's the kind of information that they store. It's like, okay, like we get all this information. This is like the most basic example, but like some bald guy, pictures of a bald dude, algorithms like, okay, he's bald, not going to want hair products. Similar to that, but also like with things that you post on Facebook and also things that you do outside of Facebook, because Facebook app tracks you while you're doing other things on your phone that's not related to Facebook.
Yeah. And like even with Android now, uh even if you don't have a Facebook account, Facebook the app is installed on your phone already. So you're buying a phone with a Google operating system that comes with Facebook already on it. So like that you're paying money for people to track you and push ads on you. And
Right.
like a lot of people don't know that you can actually like put different operating systems on your phone, like whether it be a jailbreak or a root on your phone.
Yeah, there's a few different ways where you can what they call de-googling your phone,
Yeah.
basically removing all source or all traces of any type of Google tracking stuff on your phone. And funnily enough, I don't think it's actually possible with iPhone, because it's the iPhone or Apple itself that's doing it.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can jailbreak your phone and get rid of all the bloatware that Apple has on there, which would be kind of the same thing as rooting like your Android phone.
Right. That's true.
So it's like even then, you're not really using a custom operating system on your iPhone. You're using a modified version of their operating system.
And you're not getting completely free from their snooping, basically. Because I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong, but even a jailbroken phone can still, Apple still basically has the ability to kind of like access the data of the phone or whatever. Because I know Apple did this thing where they were looking for, uh, I probably can't say this on the podcast, but it's like CP or whatever. And they
Yeah.
like had a system where they were going to go through everybody's iPhones and like go through their photos and like see if there's anything that like flags their algorithms. So Apple can do that remotely without, you know, any permission from the user whatsoever.
Well, here's something. They have their permission. They have the user's permission to go through everything they put in the cloud because it's all in the terms of service. When you consent to using that, you're basically giving whichever company it is pretty much free reign to anything that you put in the cloud that they control.
Right. That makes sense because it's their servers.
Yeah. And even if it's not their servers, you're signing a terms of service kind of like for a company that's contracted out to give your information to another company, and that other company also has a terms of service. So your terms of service that you signed will be kind of like migrated into the one that the other company has.
Right. And a lot of another key thing, I think there's no such thing as a cloud. It's just other people's computers.
Yeah, absolutely. A cloud
A lot
is
of people
just,
don't know that.
Cloud is basically a fancy term for peer-to-peer, because that's basically all it is peer-to-peer file sharing.
Yeah, there's a server somewhere holding all this information.
Yeah, and it may not be actually it's not all of the information in one spot. It could be 1 byte here, 1 byte there, 1 byte there, but they're all chained together to get it. A lot of people think that helps with anonymizing the data to have just a little bit here and a little bit there, but it actually makes it worse because if you can get into one spot, then you have access to tons of other information because it's just little pieces. So like if you put your hand in like a candy machine and you grab a handful of Skittles, all those colors, right? They're people's information. So you're getting all the other people's information instead of just one color. You're getting all the colors.
Right. And that's where we've seen like people getting their iPhones, like their cloud hacks and hacked and shit like that. It's actually a lot of the ways that they've been doing it is more social engineering than actually hacking. They'll send like phishing emails and whatnot to people, and we've seen it like where celebrities get their phones hacked and like shit like released to the public and whatnot. A lot of it is social engineering, and it's happening to like regular people too on a much larger scale. So that's something that I have. That's probably on your list of basic things. Phishing emails, right? Like
Yeah, like the
one of the biggest things.
like I was literally just watching someone talking about it was a podcast. I think I sent you the link. I can't remember his first name, but it's Bomble or Bamble or something like that. So he was talking with basically a doctor of criminal science who taught social engineering. And she said that she doesn't like the term people are the weakest link when it comes to privacy and security. But it's true. She was trying to pivot towards it's not the people that are the weakest link, it's the education. And I'm like, well, who the fuck teaches the people? People teach people. So people are the weakest link because people aren't teaching people what they need to know.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what, like, she's basically saying the same thing in different terminology, basically.
Yeah.
It's still the people that are the weakest link because they're not educated.
Now, here's a fact that I kind of unleashed at work the other day. If you were to guess the we'll say the demographic, whether it be like millennials, zennials, boomers, shit like that, which demographic do you think is more likely to be targeted and susceptible to social engineering?
Yeah, it's definitely boomers.
Nope. It's millennials.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is it because millennials are more adept to technology right now than boomers are? So if a boomer's not in technology, they can't, or like, they don't have the technology, they can't really be screwed over by it.
Well, it's kind of more of a comfort zone thing. Whereas a boomer has had to learn to ask questions about the technology, right?
That's a good point.
They're focused more on what they're doing and what they should or shouldn't be doing. Whereas like millennials have grown up in that comfort zone of just having technology there and just trusting it, just outright trusting it without asking questions. And that says a whole lot about the political climate that we're in right now, is that no one's asking questions. People
that does
are
make
just
a lot of
taking
sense.
everybody's words for it. Yeah.
My parents are boomers, and I basically have them engineered so that anytime they get an email, they message me and ask me if it's legit or not. So they're like, well, Dad, got a email from Plex about the data breach or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
And he was like, hey, what's this all about? Do I have to do this? Or I was like, just let me do it on my end. Don't worry about it. Because I have like a server set up, right? So
yeah,
I changed the password on the server or whatever. It's fine. And he has like his own account. So I'm like, just, you have nothing on your account, so don't even bother. He's like,
Yeah.
okay, so I don't have to do anything. This is super important. I was like, just don't worry about it. He's like, okay.
Well, I mean, it is super important in the fact that information, whether or not it's his, but someone else's information has been accessed without the users and the company's permission. So there's that. But yeah, there's also the fact that you shouldn't go into panic mode because there's been a data breach. You have to think of what potential data you have that could be involved in that data breach. And a lot of times they're not necessarily going after, I don't want to say the little people, but just Joe Schmo, basically. They're going after, we'll say like a CEO who has like 5 million Blu-rays on his server and has some home movies on his server as well, right? That's what they're going after. They're not going after movies and TV shows. They can get that shit, no problem. It's the home movies or like voice recordings and shit like that. That's what they want, because that's how they get their money, is basically just selling it on the deep or dark web, right?
Right. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And another thing that I was going to bring up, you said millennials were the main ones to be victims of hacking, right?
More so social engineering, because
Social engineering, right?
They're kind of
So-
more trusted.
So, maybe not a lot of people understand what phishing is. But to put it in layman's terms, it's basically somebody who sends out a bunch of emails to different people, and they're basically putting out something that looks legit, like it's like reset your Facebook password, somebody's been messing around with your account or whatever. So you click the link and it says put in your password. It looks like a legit Facebook account. You put in your password and then bam, they have your password. That's
Yeah.
basically what a phishing link or site is. It's
Yeah.
pretty important to know that a lot of emails that you get from companies, they're not going to write like straight up give you a link that doesn't look legit. Like if it's not like facebook.com, it might be like facebook dot something else.com. If that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah. And the best thing that I tell everybody is if you get an email from anything, don't click on the link in the email. Go right to the website directly. If you see, like, I don't even open emails from like any social network or in some cases a bank or anything like that. I just go right to that website. And because if it is something important, it's going to be displayed on the website when I log in. So I know not only am I going to something that I've always gone to through a bookmark or what have you, but I know that it's not something that I need to worry about in the email inbox, because if it's something I need to worry about, it'll be on the website already, and I'm already there to address it.
Right. And these things can come at you at any time too, because I remember a friend of mine, we play this video game called Rocket League, and some guy messaged him that he knew and posted this link and said, "Sign up to this Rocket League tournament. It's through Steam." So he clicked on the link, and it brought him to a site that looked like Steam. Everything looked legit, and he put his Steam password in, and bam, he was hacked within like 10 seconds of him putting his password in.
Yeah.
And luckily he had like two-party verification, so he got his account back pretty quickly. However, the guy stole like a bunch of stuff off his account, and he never got that stuff back. So it could come at you any possibility, really, like not just through email, not just about a regular website like Facebook. It could be anything, anywhere. And bank accounts, another really, really bad one too. You definitely don't want people getting into your bank account.
Yeah, and that's kind of one of the running scams that's been going on for years is like refund scams, like we've seen on Kitboga, like the Twitch streamer, where he basically just calls up scammers and just wastes their time, because they want to, basically they say they're going to give you money, they edit the website on your end so it looks like they gave you too much money, and then you send them back whatever the difference is, and oops, all of a sudden you have no money, they have all your money, and then they're going to call you again in another month and do it again.
Right. And in a way, that is social engineering in itself right there.
Yeah, phishing and social engineering are pretty much the same thing, because phishing, it kind of works on counting on the person to not fully read or understand what's going on. And that in itself is kind of social engineering. Social engineering and phishing are basically just manipulating someone or something to get the information and to get the access that you want, right?
Right. 9 times out of 10, if you get hacked, it's your own fault. So,
Yep. Oh, absolutely. And like, this is coming from someone who's like, I'm in the security space now, but like when I was in high school, I got hacked on my MSN account got hacked, right? Like that was like what, 2002, 2003, and like there was
I remember
absolutely
MSN.
nothing that I needed in there, but it was just an inconvenience because I didn't get the nudes that they promised me, right? Like,
Yeah. Now I remember MSN. Damn.
yeah,
That was a long time ago. I
yeah.
feel old as hell now.
I know MSN's been gone for what, at least 16 years, I want to say. Jesus.
Oh, it's gone? Like gone?
Oh yeah, it's gone. Yeah.
Wow.
And the other one I got was my Xbox account got hacked. My Xbox Live account got hacked. But that wasn't my problem. That wasn't my fault. What ended up happening, that was more recently. That would have been Jesus, I want to say like 2007, 2008, somewhere around there. And that was because Bungie, the video game company that makes like Halo and Destiny, their forums got hacked. And because their forums were linked to Xbox Live accounts, all the passwords were just there. They were already linked. You didn't even have to sign into a Bungie account. You just linked it with your Xbox Live account, and it had your password.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Ouch. They were storing unencrypted passwords on their server?
Yep.
Stupid. That's like rule 1. That's
Oh, yeah.
literally rule 1. Do not store unencrypted passwords on your servers. And that goes for everybody.
Yeah.
That was
like
the
even
first that was like the first thing I learned when setting up like a password system and a database. That was the first thing. Do not store unencrypted passwords. And it's
Well-
not hard either to set up an encrypted password system either, so
you're not
Sounds
even
like people
supposed
are
to
just
store the
lazy.
password itself.
well, yeah, even encrypted, really. I mean,
Yeah.
it's still not good, but I mean, it's better than better than Bungie. Damn,
Yeah.
that's rough.
Absolutely. And you think of how many other people that, like, at the time I was just using Microsoft points. I didn't have a credit card linked to my account. So I had nothing but access to lose, right? I couldn't be fucking fleeced of like thousands of dollars because I didn't have a credit card on it. I was just reloading points. So I think
Right.
at the time I had like 160 points, which was nothing for Microsoft points.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I've seen people have their Rocket League accounts hacked and them lose like the equivalent to like $500 worth of stuff. It's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
You've surely heard of like people playing World of Warcraft getting hacked.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And like that's like it, I want to say at least tens of thousands of dollars worth of not just digital stuff, but like hours invested in that account just gone because they just hack in, they transfer everything out, they delete the character, delete the account, and poof, everything's fucking gone.
Yup. That is rough. What else was I gonna say? Um yeah, going back to the whole phishing thing. There's plenty of other ways I think people should be aware of. It's a matter of just being aware and making common sense decisions. So, like if you think something's a little sketchy, do not click on it. Like you
Yeah.
said, do not click on links in your email as a rule, which I agree with. But like if you're going to, please just like be very skeptical of everything that you click on.
I'm gonna pull something up here. It's one site that I highly fucking recommend visiting. It's EFF.org. It's the Electronic Frontier Foundation. So they have tons of information, tons of tools, everything for keeping not only your data safe, but keeping you informed of situations where your data may not have been safe. There's even websites out there like Have I Been Pwned, where you can put in your email address and they'll let you know if it was involved in any data breaches. You can put in your password if you want, and they'll let you know if that particular password has been involved in a data breach. And you can even put in websites that you're a member of, and they'll let you know if that website has been involved in a data breach as well.
Yeah, very useful website. I've used a few times.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd put my password in there, but yeah, I would definitely use it for putting your email or different websites that you think might have had data breaches. And a lot of companies will be upfront when something like that happens, just so you know that, change your password, do whatever you can to like minimize the problem. And usually that involves with changing your password if you're using the same password on other websites, which I don't recommend either. But if you happen to, change those ones as well and never use that password again.
Yeah, the absolute best thing I could recommend, it's gonna be a pain in the ass to do, would be to use. You can use like a literal website online to generate a random password. Just do that for every site, and it's going to sound counterintuitive, but store it in your browser, because the first thing they're going to do if someone does, heaven forbid, get access to your computer is, first of all, they're going to look through your Microsoft saved credentials. If there's nothing there, there probably isn't. They're going to start looking through browsers. And in the browsers, if you've saved a slew of just randomized, random generated passwords, they're going to quit when they see that not every password is the same. They're just going to fucking yeet the fuck out of it, and you'll never see them again.
Yeah, because they don't really have the time to go through every single randomized password that you have. And I've actually been in the habit of doing that. I kind of been thinking about using a password manager.
Mhm.
That's something else that we could talk about after, but I have been using randomly generated passwords, 16 characters long, in all of my recent um, sites that I've been signing up for or whatever. And even like when I go to change a password, I'll use like a randomly generated password. And it's basically just like a bunch of uppercase and lowercase letters, and sometimes there's symbols. So yeah, it's really not so convenient, but as long as you're saving it in your browser that you use, that's what I do. It's just gonna pop up, and once you put in your email, it's gonna pop up your password every single time. Now,
Yeah.
the only downside is if you lose access to your computer or your phone and you don't have, that browser, then you're gonna have to somehow figure out what all your passwords are. But honestly, that's a pretty rare occasion. And in that instance, you should probably change a lot of your passwords anyway.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Like it, if you all of a sudden don't have access to a browser for whatever reason, just cut your ties with whatever information you had on that browser. Use a new browser and just reset your passwords and just go back to business like normal. Now,
Yeah,
the
and
thing
just
is,
do.
it sounds like a huge hassle to have like just randomized passwords all the time, but it's only going to take you maybe a minute to click forgot my password, to click the password reset link, to paste in a randomly generated password and save it to your browser. That's it. You'll never have to remember that password. You never have to fucking look at it again. It's done. And like
And
you were talking about password management, there's lots of different password managers out there. I actually just cleaned up my LastPass, which is a password manager that you can use. They have a free tier as well as paid tiers. There's lots of other ones out there, but I've been with LastPass forever. I think I got it for sale on a bundle on Humble Bundle for like $5 for a year, kind of thing.
right, yeah, it's really convenient. I was also going to mention that a lot of browsers will have a button that you can click to randomize your password as well. It'll just say security generated password. Click on that, and it's just a bunch of random characters, and it works just the same as what you were talking about.
Now, when we're getting into browsers, the one thing I want to stress, and I don't think I can stress it enough, is do not use Google Chrome. Do not use Google Chrome. And the reason for that is, like we said earlier, it's Google. They're already on your phone. Why do you want them on your desktop? Why do you want them even further in your phone? Like, why keep giving them additional information? And there's lots of other browsers out there that have a more security focus. The number one, top one that I could recommend is the Brave browser. That is fucking phenomenal. I use it I don't use it for everything right now. I did at one point. But as of now, it's on my phone because I do a lot of just random searches on my phone. And if I'm ever like doing something on my phone and I don't want to do it on my computer, well, then I know that, because Brave they don't keep logs of what you're searching. There's no manipulation of search results. I don't even think they have like sponsored search results on Brave.
I don't think so. But yeah, the bottom line is definitely do not use Google Chrome. That is the worst for security. I personally use Firefox because I'm trying to like revive Firefox because it's still my favorite browser of all time. So
Yeah.
I've been using it, and I've been using it with a bunch of what are they called? Add-ons. The
Mhm.
little
Yeah.
yeah, add-ons. So I got like ad blocker. I got like what do I got? Okay, I got anti like mining stuff. So yeah, basically I got like anti-script stuff, ad blocker, anti like mining, and basically this thing is pretty much good to go. Like if I'm going to a website and I'm like using a VPN, it's pretty hard to like track me. Like I don't get any ads on YouTube. I don't get like anything like that. And I know saying like YouTube might seem like a oxymoron because YouTube is basically Google, but
Yeah.
right now YouTube is like the only place that actually, makes money anymore for content creators. I
Mhm.
would love to see like Rumble take off, and I think maybe we should start posting our videos on Rumble because I think Rumble might be the future of videos and podcasts. So might be something to look into for us. But yeah, Google is like the only place right now that content creators can survive. So that's the only reason I say stick to Google or YouTube. I mean, YouTube for now. Um, I do sometimes turn ads on certain content creators that I want to support, especially smaller ones.
Mhm.
But otherwise, I just ad block the whole shit. I don't want to give YouTube any more money. They have enough.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And one thing, I don't know if I told you about this. The Opera browser, I'm using, I think it's just Opera GX. It's supposed to be like gamer centric or whatever. It has a built-in VPN in it. So
Interesting.
it comes with a VPN. That's why I'm using that on my computer and I'm using Brave on my phone. Now on my computer, I'm still using Brave for the search engine, but I'm using Opera as the web browser because it has the VPN built in, and mix that with Brave for the search engine. You're good to go. Firefox has pivoted like massively towards like security focus, because before it was basically Google Chrome like back in the day. They had no qualms about collecting your data and just selling it to whoever wanted it. But then they realized that it's they kind of took a seat back and said, yeah, we probably shouldn't be doing this. Help us fix it. So there was like a whole movement behind. I believe Firefox is open source now as well. I'm gonna find out for sure.
That could be true.
Now, for people who don't really know what open source is, which is kind of who we're kind of talking to right now, open source, think of it as like a crowdsourced program. So what it basically is they post all of the basic code, all the basic programming information and functions publicly. So anyone anywhere in the world with internet access can look at it, can evaluate it. Sure, some people could exploit it, but there might be 5 people who want to exploit it and 200 people working to fix that exploit because they use that browser themselves and they don't want someone else doing it. So there's a lot more, not necessarily just security focus, but there's a lot more features and there's a lot less bugs on an open source, basically open source anything, because it's community focus. The whole community wants to make sure that it's as good as it possibly can be, because if they don't want it to be good, they're not part of the community and they're not in it. They're using something that's closed source or even another open source to exploit that open source.
Right. And I was also going to mention there's a video that I think we should put in the description. It's called Firefox dying is terrible for the web. It's a really interesting video. I don't know if I sent it to you or not, but I will send it to you right now. And if you want to take a look at it, it's really interesting and it's worth watching. And I think our viewers should definitely watch it too. It might actually get some people to start switching over from Chrome to Firefox, besides the privacy concerns that Chrome has. Here's just another reason why I think more people should use Firefox. It mostly has to do with the way websites cater to Chrome now, because Chrome is overwhelming majority of people accessing the web. So there's going to be less support for Firefox on websites because people won't be tailoring their websites to Chrome, Firefox, and all these other browsers. They'll be just tailoring their websites to Chrome because it's the most popular, and that's really bad for the web. So yeah, it's an interesting watch. I think a lot of people could get some really good information from that.
Yeah, I'll definitely take a look at it. I'll post it in the description as well, because
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, the more information people can get on keeping not only themselves safe now but safe in the future is definitely something that everybody should focus on.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
I pulled up a list on the Forbes.com website. I know Forbes is probably not the best place to go to for like me and you for information on like how to stay safe. But for the people who aren't really extremely well versed, not that we're extremely well versed in security and that, they kind of have a list of just kind of the do's and don'ts on. It says a beginner's guide to online privacy, 12 important tips. It was posted not too long ago, June 7th, 2019. So like 3 years ago. So it's still semi-relevant.
It's likely most of the stuff will, from 2019, it's definitely still relevant. Not a lot has changed in 3 years when it comes to security.
Like the number one thing that they have is minimize personal details. So they say remove personal data from your profile, including birth dates, addresses, location. Don't share anything on your profiles publicly, and minimize who can see what you share about your daily life and routine. And that is a great way to actually like sum up what you should be doing anyway, because you're not going to be the person walking down the street yelling out all your information to just people walking by. So why would you do it on the internet? Why would you just yell out all your information on the internet?
Yeah. A long time ago, I took a lot of information off Facebook. I know I did have some information, but not as much as some people do. Like I think I had my like general location. Like I think my like home city was like St. John's. So you know how like
Yeah.
kind of proximity that is to where I am. So not like in pinpoint, but like general area. And I'm pretty sure I had like my phone number and my email address and my birthday, but not my birth date. So like not the year.
Yeah.
And I went and took pretty much everything off except my birthday. So now it says that I went to Harvard University and a bunch of other stuff. I work at Memes. So like so just a bunch of random stuff. And I never check in anywhere. That's another thing I would highly recommend against checking
Oh,
in
man.
like on Facebook or whatever. Like some phones will check you in automatically now. I've seen
Yep.
like some setting. I think it might be a setting on Facebook. Like as soon as you walk into a store and like a downtown area, it like checks you in. It like connects to their Wi-Fi and it checks you in, and it like posts on your Facebook. And it's just like, really? That is so creepy. Like, who does not think that's creepy? Some
Yeah.
people just think that's normal everyday life. Like, oh, look at me. I'm eating like dinner. Here's a picture of my dinner at this restaurant. Okay, now I'm going here. It's like it's it would be way too easy to be a stalker these days.
Yeah. And there was actually tons of news stories going out, like when social media first started coming up, basically telling people, don't say not only where you're going on vacation, don't say when you're going on vacation, don't say how long you're going on for a vacation, because criminals are using all that information to find empty houses and burgle them. Like, you're going to come home from vacation with not a fucking clue that your house has been emptied because the burglar on your Facebook list knew you were gone for 2 weeks to Florida, and they kind of got a hint that they should have wrapped up, but then you posted that your flight was delayed. You were going to be an extra 4 hours. So they took a nap and then they walked out with your TV.
Right. Okay. So here's something. Just say you have like your city listed on your bio. Okay, you don't necessarily even have your street address.
Mhm.
Okay, you happen to have a picture of your house, like, oh, look at my new paved driveway that it just got paved, or look at the paint job of my garage. All right. People have found um houses, and they have found like landmarks just from pictures posted on social media. And I'm talking not knowing just the city, but knowing like the country, or not even the country, like not even knowing it at all. They've been able to figure out where this place was. So you don't think somebody with a few hours of spare time can't be like, okay, this is the city. Here's a picture of their house. I'm going to figure out where this house is. And now John Smith is going on vacation these dates. He's taking his wife and kids with him. Like you said, burgle the house.
Yep.
You don't
And
necessarily have to have your full address on Facebook for people to figure this stuff out.
I'll use myself as an example. You were witness to me literally tracking down someone with just their username on Twitter, finding out their whole family tree, where they lived, how old they were, um, fucking what school they went to, the name of their teachers, the name of their principal, all that information. And that was what it took me maybe an hour to get all that information. And all I had to go off was just a username.
Yep. Yep, 100%.
Yeah.
It's way too easy. If you allow it to be that easy, that's on you.
Yeah.
And that means keeping your private life private. If you don't care about these things, if you don't care that people can track you down from a username and know everything about you because your whole life is on the internet, then that's fine. You do you. But we're trying to help the people that actually give a shit.
Yeah. And even if you say you don't give a shit, I'll ask you this question. Just because you have nothing to hide, does that mean you have nothing to lose?
Yeah, I mean, this day and age, you say the wrong thing on social media and you get fired from your job. So
Yeah.
what if you thought a joke was funny 10 years ago? Not so funny these days.
Yeah.
Maybe
Like
your employer takes offense to it. Do you really want them to be able to track you down and know exactly like who your employer is? Come on.
and that's something that's been brought up a whole lot more with the whole pandemic going on, because everybody's working virtually. Everybody who's working virtually has a webcam, and there's a lot of we'll say pranks, in some cases I'll say just a social experiment of people just joining Zoom calls that they didn't even get invited in, and being able to see everybody that's in the Zoom call. And remember, if you're on any video chat, just because you're on the screen doesn't mean the people watching you are looking at you. They could be looking at every little fucking thing in the background. They could be looking at the shirt you're wearing. They could be looking at like how much you're perspiring, what time of day it appears to be outside. They could find all this information just from a Zoom call. Now, there is ways to blur everything but you. That's an option in Zoom for people who do use it. It's basically just in the video settings. You can click blur background, and that is fucking awesome. I highly recommend, if anybody is working virtually and they have to be on a video call for any reason whatsoever, use that blur. Because if your employer doesn't want you using that blur on a call that you're on with them, you don't want that employer, because that employer not only doesn't trust you, but they want to know what else you're doing while you're working remotely, while you're working at home or in a different office. They're watching everything except you if they complain that your blur is on.
I'm pretty sure Microsoft Teams has the same thing. Couple places I worked at, I used Microsoft Teams for video calls, and that was an option. There's also an option on one of them. I'm not sure which one it was. It might have been Teams, where you could put a background of like a tropical island or whatever. Basically,
Yeah.
what it does is it just creates a fake green screen behind you, anything out of focus, and then it'll project an image where it's just cutting out your image and projecting everything else behind you as like whatever, a tropical island, mountain range, whatever. Those are pretty cool. I've used those before.
Yeah, and I mean it's a way of not only hiding, well, not necessarily hiding, but not disclosing stuff that you don't want disclosed, but also having a little laugh sometimes. Like, you could change it so it looks like you're on the moon, right? Like, people think you're being silly, but you are being silly, and you're also being conscious of what information you have around you, and what observances they could make towards you.
Right.
Now, one thing that is also on the Forbes list, this is a lot of people are going to wonder, well, how do I get around this? And it says, don't save financial information on shopping sites. So I can tell you right now, I have my card on my Amazon account because it's a shopping website. It, like, I'm always spending money there, so why would I not have it there? But the way that Forbes phrases it, It says there's no foolproof way to safeguard your information once it's online, but you can secure your financial information more efficiently by removing it altogether from shopping websites. When sites ask you to save credit card information, decline to do so and instead spend the extra minutes entering your information when you buy again and again. It's something I'm not going to fucking do because I'm fucking lazy when it comes to that, and I don't have a whole lot of money.
Yeah, and also I don't think Amazon would store unencrypted credit card information on their servers anyways. So I
Yeah.
don't think, I mean, as much as Amazon is $1 billion company, they're not that much of a fuck up. You know, they're not as stupid as the Canadian government, for example.
Now, one thing I do want to highly suggest, it's been like brought up hundreds of times. There's a website called privacy.com. You can actually create digital credit cards for one-time use for when you shop online. You can put the exact amount of money on that digital credit card that you want to spend and use that digital credit card with a website. So even if that website does get compromised, all the money's gone off that digital credit card. And you could even just delete the digital credit card after you've received your stuff. And you could just rinse and repeat over and over again.
That's interesting. I was unaware of that, but kind of like one of those prepaid kind of like credit cards or whatever. Same kind of idea.
Yeah, definitely. And
Yeah.
those are actually, I'd highly recommend them if, as long as you're the one spending the money. If you're buying it to give it to someone on the phone, don't buy it. Do not buy prepaid credit cards for anybody other than yourself. Use them
Yeah.
just for yourself.
Absolutely. There's way too many scammers these days that use the prepaid cards or gift cards or yeah, we've seen plenty of them.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And it's so easy to just, like, I think I could go for a 2-minute walk and go get a prepaid credit card and like not worry about it again. I buy a $50 prepaid credit card, spend $49.95 of it, and I got fucking 5 cents. If I lose it, so be it. If I don't lose it, well, I gotta find something that costs a nickel.
Right on. Yeah. Well, what do you think we ended there?
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot that we can get into. Like, I'm just scrolling through, and it's kind of stuff that we've kind of already covered. Like the next one would have been like use complex unique passwords. Cool.
Right.
Yep, we got that.
We did that.
Check social privacy settings. Yep, we got that. Use the right tracker blocking tools. Yep, got that.
Did that.
Always use a VPN. We strongly suggested the use of a VPN.
Right.
You don't always have to use it.
You think we should link Kit Bogus channel too, just so people that are unaware of some of the scamming techniques that people use?
Yep. What I had planned to do would be to put up Jim Browning's videos.
That works too. Either one of them are fine. He's more of like a straight shooter rather than a comedian.
Yeah, and like people who are kind of just looking for kind of like an information, like a 15-minute informational video, Jim Browning is definitely someone that I'd tell someone that I care about to go watch their videos, because he exposes not only just the practices of what people do, but the faces of people who do it. And that is huge, because a lot of times it's people that you wouldn't expect to be the ones doing it.